Hello, I'm Rachael Nobbs. I'm a freelance EFL content editor and teacher. In this video, we're going to look at the past perfect. So that's that tense that we use when we're talking in the past and we want to show that an action happened before another past action with had and a past participle. So let's start by setting a context so that the language makes sense to our learners in the real world. A natural one for past tenses is an anecdote. So this is a true story that happened to a friend of a friend. It's about a little boy called Jamie who went to the zoo with his parents and carrying his new rucksack. So he had a lovely time. He loved all the animals, especially the baby penguins. Later in the story, Jamie went missing, but luckily his parents found him. Then they went home, and later during the night, his father was woken by the sound of running water. So he walked towards the bathroom, and as he opened the door, he realized. And at this point, we can stop and try to elicit the target language from our learners. Jamie had stolen a baby penguin. So the context has already made the meaning clear. It's done this work for us. So now we need to concept check to check that our learners really understand the meaning. So we could ask questions like, did this happen in the past? Did it finish in the past? And with the past perfect, we really need to compare it with the past simple because that's how it works. So let's add another sentence. We've got his dad opened the door and realized that Jamie had stolen the baby penguin. So we can look at these actions A, B, we can see opened, realize, past simple for consecutive actions. So we could ask which one happened first, and we can see that had stolen happened before the past simple action, or actions in this case. And we can ask if the act of stealing the penguin finished before the act of opening the door. We can also use some timelines to clarify and check understanding. And once we're clear that the learners have really understood that the past perfect simple is for actions that happened and finished before another past action, we can now focus on the form, which we can elicit. So we've got Jamie had stolen a baby penguin, subject, had, past participle. We make it negative by adding not, so Jamie hadn't stolen a baby penguin, and we can form the question by inverting Jamie had Jamie stolen, so the had and the subject. So the form, of course, also includes the spoken form, so we can look at stressed words and the fact that we stress the main verb, which is the past participle, had stolen, and we don't stress the auxiliary had, but we do stress the auxiliary in a negative, Jamie hadn't stolen. And we usually contract had to Jamie'd stolen. So next you might want to do some controlled practice, for example, choosing the correct form for some sentences. We want to make sure that this tests their understanding of the meaning and not just writing the form. So now we can go on to some freer practice, and here are some great ideas. So in pairs, your learners could write questions using the past perfect and past simple for other pairs to answer. Or they could write some sentences containing some tense mistakes and some correct use of past perfect for other learners to check and correct where necessary. They could prepare their own timelines, but just noting the events in note form, and their partners could create some sentences or maybe some questions using the past perfect and the past simple. They could also write some sentences about themselves that need the past perfect. So you could give them some sentence starters like, when I came to England, or by the time I arrived at class today, and they have to explain something that happened before this. You could then collect these sentences, give them out to different people, and they have to guess who wrote which one. Another idea is you could recap the story from the beginning or give them a longer version, and they could then account for why some of the things happened by giving some background information. So, for example, when Jamie went missing, he had gone to look at the penguins, and then he had hidden the penguin in his rucksack. So the important thing with all of these freer practice activities, your job is to monitor. You can give them help where needed, but we want to be unobtrusive in collecting some good use of the language and also some mistakes for them to correct in the very important feedback stage. So ideally, they'll be able to correct their own mistakes or those of their peers and learn something from it. So then after the feedback, they've gained a better understanding, so it'd be great to give them another opportunity to apply what they've learned again. You could give them a self-study exercise that they should be able to do very well. And an ideal follow-up task in a following lesson would be for them to tell their own anecdotes. So they could prepare some ideas for homework, and then in the following class, they tell their stories to each other and maybe swap pairs, and they get that valuable repetition and practice. So that was the past perfect. And for more activities, be sure to check out TESOL's other videos in the series How to Teach English series. Happy teaching!